The baby Daniel held looked nothing like him or the woman he married. Her features were rough, her skin darker, her face small and uneven. And to crown it all, she had a very big nose. Daniel stood frozen, staring at the tiny baby in his arms. The room seemed to fade around him. The hospital that once filled with laughter suddenly went silent. He looked at his wife, the woman the world called perfect, lying weak on the hospital bed, her polished skin glowing under the white light. Then he looked at the baby again, his chest tightened. How could a woman so beautiful give birth to a baby so different? That question marks the beginning of a quiet storm in their marriage. Long before Daniel knew his wife Miriam, she was another woman. That is the ugly Miriam, as she used to call herself then. Miriam was not born with beauty. She grew up in a world that praised the flawless and mocked the ordinary. Her skin was uneven, her teeth crooked, her body small and shapeless. People talked behind her back, laughing, gossiping, using her name as a joke. But Miriam was not lazy. She was industrious, cleaned offices in the evening, and worked extra job on weekends. Every coin she earned came from her sweat, not favor. Still, deep inside, she carried a wound that hard work couldn't heal, the wound of rejection. She wanted to be loved, seen, and accepted. But in a world that only opened door for beauty, her efforts were never enough. One day she decided to change her story. With the savings she had built over the years, she began her transformation step by step, layer by layer. She started with her skin, bleaching creams, brightening serums, expensive treatment. Then came surgeries to refine her body. Her face reshaped, her curves rebuilt, her smile perfected. Each procedure came with pain, but the pain no longer frightened her. She told herself every tear was an investment towards a better life. Months later, when she stood before the mirror, old Miriam was gone. In her place stood a new woman, fair, elegant, flawless. Her reflection finally smiled back at her, and for the first time, the world smiled too. People who once mocked her now admired her. Doors that once shut now opened easily. Men stared in awe. She walked through the same streets where she was once invisible, now shining with pride. It was during this new life that Daniel met her. Daniel was drawn to her calm voice and beauty that seemed almost unreal. Within months, they married in a ceremony that looked like a dream. To Daniel, she was perfection itself. And when she became pregnant, he couldn't stop imagining how beautiful their baby would be. He told his friends their child would be the prettiest in the world. But the day the baby arrived, reality struck. When Daniel saw the child, his heart sank in disbelief. Family members exchanged glances, pretending not to notice. People outside began to gossip, saying the baby looked nothing like her mother. Miriam stayed quiet, pretending not to hear, but every comment pierced her soul. She loved her child deeply, yet each look of confusion reminded her of the face she once had, the one she paid to erase. Weeks turned into months. Daniel grew distant. The joy that once filled their home slowly disappeared. Daniel smiled less, talked less, and avoided questions he couldn't answer. Miriam saw the change but said nothing. She couldn't bear to lose the man who finally made her feel accepted. But then again, she knew she was living on a borrowed truth. One night, she decided to end the silence. She told him everything. She spoke about her past, how she had once been ugly Miriam, mocked and ridiculed, how people gossiped behind her back and treated her like she didn't exist. She told him about the years of hard labor, saying every coin for her transformation, about the pain, the surgeries, the bleaching, and the countless nights she cried herself to sleep. And then she said the words that broke the silence completely. The baby looks exactly like me, the real me before the changes. Daniel sat still, speechless. His mind swayed with thoughts he couldn't form. The woman he married was never a deceiver but a survivor. Her beauty had been her armor, her way to fight a world that had once crushed her. From that night, nothing was the same. He didn't stop loving her, but confusion settled deep in his heart. He began to see her differently, not as a goddess, but as a woman shaped by scars. And when Miriam later mentioned having another child, he quietly refused and said one was enough. He never explained why, but she understood. The wound between them had no words, only silence. She accepted it quietly. Maybe it was guilt, maybe it was peace, but she never asked again. From then on, Miriam poured all her love into her daughter. She taught her that beauty is not in the mirror but in the heart. She raised her to walk proudly in her natural skin, to never chase acceptance through change. Daniel saw something new in her, something real. He started to admire her not for the perfections she built, but for the strength she built. Years passed. Their daughter grew into a confident young girl, not flawless, but radiant with self worth. Their home became peaceful again, not the loud joy of the early days, but a quiet understanding, the kind that grows when truth replaces illusion. In the end, Miriam's story was not one of shame, but awakening, and that what is hidden in you will always find its way to be seen. Her daughter became her reflection, a living reminder that real beauty needs no correction. When you change yourself to be loved, you lose the part of you that deserved love the most.